Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, it's been a while since I posted a video. Now, today, as a build up, I'm going to be discussing the history of Bakgalaka, the origin of Bakgalaka. This is just a general overview, especially Bakgalaka who live in the Limpopo valleys. Now, I'm going to be exploring the origin of Bakgalaka. As you know that Bakgalaka, or the people of the sun, as defined by Peter Sibina in his articles, which was published in 1931. Peter Sibina from Botswana defined Bakgalaka, or in South Africa we call them Bakgalaka, in Zimbabwe we call them Karanga, as a people of the sun. So Bakgalaka or Bakgalaka or Karanga means people of the sun. Now, when you talk about the historiography of Bakgalaka in South Africa, especially in South Africa, apartheid created impression that Bakgalaka are people from Zimbabwe and Botswana, not South African. But ironically, if you look at the Bantu stand flags, the former homeland of South Africa, which was created for black South Africans when they were removed from their ancestral land. This Bantu stand had cultural signifiers. Among almost 10 Bantu stand in Namibia, South Africa, there's one Bantu stand which has a cultural signifier of Bakgalaka, or people of the sun. Leboa, which is found in Limpopo, had a cultural signifier that represent Bakgalaka. It is a sun and blue sky and green colors. These are the representatives of Bakgalaka, which means that apartheid government recognized Bakgalaka powers. Because when you examine specifically each cultural signifiers in different Bantustan, you can see that these cultural signifiers that were actually based on ethnographic history of the black people by apartheid government, some of those signifiers were correct. We're actually describing who Africans or black African are. Actually, Leboa Bantustan was actually represented by Bakgalaka. It has a sun, and then it also has a blue, which represents a blue sky, as well as the greens, which is the color of Bakgalaka, which represented life. So, as I said, when you talk about Bakgalaka, we are not talking about ordinary tribes. We are talking about the people who brought great civilization in South Africa from the present-day Swaziland. By the way, for those who are not aware, before Swazi live in Swaziland, the indigenous tribe that live in Swaziland were Basotho. Yes. The word Sothos, it's a Kgalaka term which is adopted by Sotho tribe, like Northern Sotho and Western Sotho. It means brown color from Mala Yomosotho. That's where you say Basotho, meaning from Mala Yomosotho, brown colors. Now, before I go in details about this Bakgalaka, where do they come from? All evidence that I have from oral history and archives point out that Bakgalaka or Bakgalaka, Makalaka or Karangas, they're the industrious tribes, very innovative. They are rainmakers. They are gold miners. As you see, their emblem is sun. Sun is represented by gold. Now, they are animal breeders. The indigenous cattle of Highveld, South Africa, known as Sotho-Tswana Nguni cattle. They are breeded by Nguni. They call them Nguni cattle. They are breeded by Sotho-Tswana cattle. They are found in Highveld, where you find them among Bapedi, you find among Bakwena, you find them among Zulus, you find among Xhosas. They actually breeded by Makalaka or Bakgalaka. They're only found in those tribes. Now, according to oral history, they come from modern-day Sudan, close to Egypt. How do we know that? We know that the capital city where Bakgalaka, they live in the capital city of former Sudan, which called Dongola. And they left Dongola, which means red bricks in Arabic. Dongola, which means red brick in Arabic. They come to South Africa via Swahili coast, which is Tanzania. They landed up in South Africa, Limpopo. In Limpopo, Bakgalaka have got one of the greatest, cultural signifiers. So within Limpopo Village, there is a mountain outside Musina. It's called Dongola. The word Dongola in Musina, it's named Bakgalaka. It's from the word Dongola in Sudan, capital city of Sudan, in ancient Nubia, Sudan. So when you hear people say Dongola, in Sudan, we also have Dongola in South Africa. It's just because some people, I think now it's called Dongola Vembe, but original term is called Dongola. It was named Bakgalaka. Babirwa called that place Bulai. It's called Dongola outside Musina. It's named by Bakgalaka when they come from Sudan via Tanzania. Bakgalaka, or the people of the sun, as I said in some of my videos, they give birth to tribes that you see in South Africa before the classification. As you know, that South African tribes were created for classification. Those Sotho speakers, all of them are linked to Bakgalaka. You go to Phalaborwa, Mpedi mine in Musina, Tabazimbi in the Waterberg. You go to Mpumalanga, go Pilgrim Rest, you go outside Polokwane, you go to South African Highveld. Those tribes that are linked to these pre-colonial mining civilizations are linked to Bakgalaka. I'll explain further what I mean. The oldest mine in Southern Africa is found in Swaziland. The original tribe of Swaziland, before Swati comes, Swati identity emerge. It's called Sotho speakers. These Sotho speakers are actually Bakgalaka, and then the first people, in fact, the first Sotho speakers who emerge, especially in South African inland, as you know that all historians and then cultural observers and travelers, they believe that the first people to arrive in South Africa are the Sotho speakers. These Sotho speakers are Bakgalaka. I'll illustrate, I'll show you what do I mean when I say the first people to arrive in South Africa are Bakgalaka. And then from there, they give birth to different groups, Ngunis, Sotho Tswana groups. I'll focus, before I expand it, I'll start by focusing on the Sotho Tswana people. The Sotho Tswana people, we know that they trace their ancestor from the Barolong. Barolong are called Babina Chipi Yen Chuyenoto. Before they changed their totem. This Barolong, which are also known as Banaba Malawaswilo or Babina Chipientu, they trace their ancestry from Nyatimbi. Nyatimbi is the ancestors, oldest ancestors, who live in the Limpopo valleys in the Zimbabwe side. It's called Nyatimbi. Nyatimbi are the people who are known as rainmakers. They are known for various innovation around South Africa and Botswana and Zimbabweans. Now, Bakgalaka people, Barolong, they give birth to Bakwena as well as Bahurute. The word Bahurute does not have explanations in Setswana. The explanation of the word Uhuruta, it's found Ruta, it means that to descend from the trees. It's called Uhuruta. So the national emblem of the tribe that traces their lineage from Bahuruta, it's a Habu or Chwen or Baboon. Babina Habu or Bakgatla Babaholo. So they're known as Bakgatla Babaholo. These are Bahurute. Bahurute are Bakgalaka. How do we know that Bahurute are Bakgalaka? Because they use monkeys as their totems. The monkey is used among Banyai. In Limpopo and Zimbabwe, Banyai Bakgalaka Banyamutsanga Dabi. Their emblem is a monkey, which is used by both. Actually, they are Bahurute, as well as Bakwena, are also a part of Bakgalaka. In Zimbabwe, they're called Ngwenya. These Bahurute groups and the Bakwena, if you go among Bakwena, many Bakwena groups today, they use like a Litsie. The word Litsie, it's actually used by people like Northern Sotho people. They say Banabachi Khalaka. You might have heard that Northern Sotho people, they say Banabachi Khalaka, Rebanabachi Khalaka. They're referring themselves, they are the offsprings of they are the offsprings of Bakgalaka when they say Banabachi Khalaka. So whereas the name Litsie is found among Basotho. Basotho is a recent identity. Like I said earlier on, it's come from Malayomo Sotho, which is a northern Sotho or Sotho name to describe the color of the people, the pigment of the people. And these groups, like Botswana also call themselves like Banaba Mutu Bakgaogana Tlhogo ya Tjie. In northern Sotho they say Banaba Mutu Bangwatelana Tlhogo ya Tjie. When they say Banaba Mutu Bakgaogana Bagobelana Tlhogo ya Tjie, they actually mean that Bakgalaka, they share, they practice Ubuntu. Now, this Bakgalaka, Banyai, they say Banyai Bakaranga. The word Banyai meaning Banaba Mala Wasbilu, the people who shine in the dark, or the black people who shine. Like I said, the Bakgalaka. Now, many scholars, when they trace the history or lineage of Bakgalaka, they tend to sidelight people from Botswana as Bakgalaka, especially when they talk about Limpopo Valley civilizations. They tend to focus on different places where there's no information. Now, Bakgalaka, today they live among Mangwatu tribe in Botswana. They live in Blueberg. You can find them among Babirwas. Babirwa, the word Babirwa is come from Indian, the Hindu Arabic terms, which come from Virwa, meaning people of the faith. Whereas Bapedi use the word Shabirwa, it's Virwa again is from people of the faith. People of the faith are Bakgalaka. The difference between Arabs were able to distinguish between Babirwa and as well as Basenzi. So they call Venda people Basenzi. Basenzi is a Swahili term that refers to vendors, which is a derogatory term. Derogatory term which means uncivilized. Whereas Babirwa means people of the faith. Whereas Basenzi, according to Arabs, literature, it means uncivilized. I don't know, you can go and find more information about the things. Now, Bakgalaka, they are known for rainmaking. You know, the rainmaking processes for gold. I think even Credo Mutwa, if I'm not mistaken, mentioned that he spent time in the shrine of Bakgalaka under Moyo people in Njere. I think he mentioned that things, which means that you can link, you can see that Limpopo Valley civilization belong to Bakgalaka because they are the one who are rainmakers. You know, this is a build up to the new lectures that will be focusing on the rainmaker of South Africa and the so-called solar deities. Now, these Bakgalaka people, I said, they also give birth to the Nguni tribes. So the people known as Matebele, the word Matebele come from, it's a Bahurute. One of Bahurute's son, his name is Mutebele, give birth to Mutebele. That's why we have got Ndebele people that we find in South Africa. They're actually related in terms of cultural things with the Sotho-Tswana groups. Now, these Bakgalaka people, there's a dance that is found among Bakgalaka in Botswana. It's called Hosana. This dance, I guess, is also found in Zimbabwe. In South Africa, the Hosana dance manifests itself in various tribes, like a Northern Sotho tribe. There's a music among northern Sotho tribe. It's called Dipila, Mbira in Shona, or Dipila. In Botswana, they call Mbira. In another one, Mbira in Chivenda. Another one is called Ditlhaka. Ditlhaka Kidinaka. In Botswana, they call it Ditlhaka. These Ditlhaka are used for, playing music where it's believed that they can attract rain and so on and so forth. But I've not yet go further about rains, because I understand that when you talk about rains, in Western society like Greeks, Europeans, Middle Eastern and other stuff, and Asian cultures, rainmaking today, it has become science. But in the past, when African people were practicing rainmaking, it was associated with what? With uloya. Baraba lawyer. If you are a rainmaker, it should be associated with lawyer. Now it's no longer about lawyer. It's associated with the science. We know that the issue of weather modifications, or controlling of weather, now it's become a science. But when it was done by Africans, it was seen as a Baramangwa lawyer. This is the scientific things that Bakgalaka brought in the country like South Africa. Now, Bakgalaka, who give birth to this tribe that you see in South Africa today, almost of them, they worship planets. The planets, like we've got Swaziland, the word Swati, it's a Indo-Arabic term from the Swati, meaning the bright stars, whereas Amazulu meaning what? Amazulu meaning the heavenly people, which is coming from the word Izuluni, which is the heaven. Whereas in Sotho Tswana called Hodimo, meaning Hodimo on earth, or in Chivenda it's called Denga. Near Denga, from the earth, Denga it's what. So these people known as Bakgalaka, they are known to believe that there's a bird that live in the heaven. It's called Shiria Wari. In northern Sotho, it's called Sebatra Samoyeng. In Zulu and Ndebele, it's called Inyoni Kaipomoli. It's represented by the cow, the white cow, Inyoni Kaipomoli. And these birds, that is considered to be heavenly birds, archaeologists and anthropologists make a mistake. They say, no, this is a Zimbabwean bird. It's not a Zimbabwean bird. It's a Bakgalaka bird. And the Bakgalaka live in South Africa, live in Zimbabwe. They live in Botswana. They also live in Zambia. Bakgalaka live in Zambia. And these Bakgalaka people, even though each and every have got its own leaders, but in the